I took over the coordination of the project only last year. I'm glad I was given the chance to join this fantastic project and network. The consortium is very nice, strong. We have lots of experts from different fields and different expertise, and it's really, really captivating to combine all this knowledge and produce new things and new visions. I will introduce you to the project, explain you a little bit our objectives and what we have done, and then other people will explain more in details the different works which have been done during the last 3 years. So this, I'm coming back a little bit to the concept of HNV farming, because I guess that not all of you are familiar with that. And to be honest, I was not familiar with it before I started working on this project. I was trained 20 years ago as an agronomist and more oriented in the main line of intensive production. And I was just starting to learn about agroecology, extensification, other ways to do farming, to preserve better nature. So just to come back to this concept, it's a concept that emerged in the 1990s, several people working on that, and it refers to low-intensity farming systems that support a diversity of species, habitats, and or species of conservation concern. So basically we are talking about extensive systems such as livestock or pastoral systems with cattle, sheep, goats or other animals, but also in more marginal terms of crop systems, for example, steppe crops in Spain, for example, and so on. So we know that agricultural intensification is a major driver of biodiversity loss, and biodiversity is really, really an issue now. And we have to act, we know that. And we know that biodiversity conservation also depends on low-intensity farming at large scales. We have to go beyond nature reserve, nature park, and even Natura 2000 zones. We have to work beyond that. This concept is that important that it was integrated in rural development projects as an impact and context indicators already in previous rural development programs. To evaluate the measures from the Common Agricultural Policy. There is an issue though, it disappears from the new, it seems it disappears. And let's hope we will bring it back in the new Common Agricultural Policy, because it has to remain there. So one question today is, how does the new CAP consider HNV farming, and how can it bring a better support to this form of extensive farming that deliver so many public goods? What makes HNV farming HNV, or high nature value, is a combination of parameters or factors. We talk about extensive farming, so low densities of cattle, low inputs, so no fertilizers, no pesticides used. The second parameter would be a high proportion of semi-natural habitats of vegetation. We talk about permanent pastures or grasslands, meadows, silvopastoral systems, a high land cover diversity and landscape features such as hedges, stone walls and ponds, and of course biodiversity there, species, plant, animal, habitats, microbes in the soil. But beyond biodiversity conservation, we are also talking of many other public and goods and services delivered by this kind of farming. We're talking about producing quality food and biodiversity, but also maintaining open landscapes, protecting soils, mitigating fire risk and climate change. HNV farming also creates jobs, and it's part of our cultural heritage. So it's not marginal. It covers above 20 or 25% of Europe agricultural land, and there is still work in progress to map the area covered by this type of farming activities. But it faces severe challenges: environmental constraints, topography, soils, climate, predation, animal diseases, even more socioeconomic and institutional constraints. This type of farming is often, sometimes in marginal areas with poor infrastructure, issues with land tenure, land access, and also succession from one farmer to his family or outside the family. The appeal of the job is quite low. It's not very attractive. People don't want to do that because of those difficulties. Regulation and policies are not very well suited to this kind of activities. So that's what we are talking about today, how to adjust that. And so there is a lower productivity in those systems compared to more intensive farming, a lower added value to the product in most cases. And that's where lots of work is going also, to add value to product. And so this kind of farming is less competitive if we consider it in comparison to more intensive farming practices. So the support of the common agricultural policy here is vital. Subsidies are important. And the support of the society is also another parameter. So the main trends, if we don't do anything to support HNV farming, we will happen to have intensification on productive land, or land abandonment, encroachment, and the consequent loss of biodiversity. So we have lots of challenges, but also many opportunities to seize for HNV farmers, HNV territories. So two important questions that we want to address today, we want to discuss also with you, is how we can enhance the economic or social viability of HNV farms while maintaining their ecological characteristics. Ecological, but also social and others. And what role can innovation play? Innovation or change? How can we drive this innovation, upscale it, make it happen at a larger scale? So we have this HNV-Link project, and that's what you're here today to learn about this project. It's a European thematic and multi-actor network which fosters the emergence, the co-construction of innovation, the exchange between countries, between areas, to enhance the socio-economic and environmental sustainability of HNV farms. So it's a project funded by the Horizon 2020, which ran between 2016 and which will finish this year in 2019. It engaged 13 partners from 10 countries, and we have what we call 10 learning areas that I will just introduce now. So that's the richness of this consortium, is that we have a multi-actor, multidisciplinary consortium. All these partners, we have partners from the academic sector, we have practitioners, we have local action groups, conservation entities. So all these people gathered forces together to produce, to go beyond existing knowledge, to produce new knowledge. And together, I think we are achieving excellent results, and that's why our colleagues today from all these territories will share with you what we have learned and the next steps, the perspectives in each of these areas. So we have what we call these 10 learning areas, 10 pilot territories, which are areas working toward HNV farming sustainability. So in these areas, we have farmers collaborating with advisors, with policymakers even, local practitioners, working together towards a common vision for HNV farming, a common vision for the future of these territories. So we have 10 of them. We have one in Spain, La Vera, Sitio de Monforado in Portugal. We have in UK, in Ireland, in Romania, in Croatia. We have in Bulgaria, Sweden. So we have a wide range here of agroecosystems with contrasting dynamics, but we notice that we have common challenges and the range of solutions worth sharing. So basically, our main goal is to foster, through cooperation and networking, the emergence and diffusion of innovations to enhance the viability of these systems. We do that by fostering a culture of cooperation and co-innovation between actors. We try to build shared visions of the territories, shared strategies, projects, and solutions. We strive to characterize and understand better these territories, HNV areas, who is working there, what are the drivers for change and so on, what are the actors of innovations. And we try to compile, analyze, and diffuse HNV farming friendly innovation and practice. And one important objective is to translate this research knowledge into practical and useful tools for farmers and policymakers and practitioners. Another goal would be to raise awareness of this form of system and to push to drive policy forward in support of these systems. So on the right side, I just illustrate these important things. Bridging policy, connecting policy, practice, and research, making innovation happen. We have these 4 innovation themes: social and institutional regulations, farming techniques and management, products and markets. We have this conceptual framework, and we have tried to look at that in the different learning areas. So the main activities, the key activities of this project are summarized here, and they will be presented by our colleagues. So the first activity, important one, was a baseline assessment of the situation of the different territories we have, to try to check to analyze who are the actors, the driving forces, and so on, the trends. So we have products of that, baseline assessment, and then Atlas of HNV territories. You can have a look at it on the website or outside. And Xavier Paux from ASCA will present that today to you in detail. The second activity, important one, was the compilation of innovations, compiling, analyzing the innovations or best practices that are available across Europe, across these territories and beyond, to see what are these innovative solutions that support HNV farming and how they can support them. So we have produced a compendium of innovation, a large book, and it's also available online in a more user-friendly format. And Guy Beaufoy here will present that to you in more detail, so this work on the innovation perspective. The third activity was about exchanging all this knowledge and spreading that beyond the consortium, in the learning areas, in the countries, and across Europe. So there has been an innovation fair, what we have called also cross visits, for peer learning between sites. People visited each other, to learn from each other, to discuss, and so on. We have produced educational materials and policy briefs and so on. So we are engaging also students in this project, which is, I think, an important aspect. People are doing masters or PhD thesis working on that, and that's really a richness of this consortium to bring all that together. You can access all our products in the website. At any time you can contact anyone from the consortium. They will be happy to share with you the knowledge they have. I have to say today that we are very happy. We are expecting about 120, 30 people from over 20 countries, and not only from the EU. We have countries from the South Mediterranean. We have someone from Iceland present here, someone from Egypt, and so on. So the interest goes much well beyond European borders. And that's an important aspect. Also, one thing I would like to finish with is that today we are here to enjoy the day, to exchange, to discuss. It's a very tight schedule, so we'll try to do that as well as we can. I want to thank you all for being here. I hope you will have a nice day. In the afternoon, just to remind you, there are these breakout sessions, and we will meet after the break, after the lunch, directly into the rooms. You will work in smaller groups on specific topics. You will be chaired and moderated by people, and you have the names on the specific lists where you have registered normally, but you can still move from one topic to another if you wish. So don't feel trapped by that.